Hey everybody, I am here to share a few thoughts with you today. We're about a little over 2 weeks into this new temporary slowing down at our homes. And I've talked a little bit about what I perceive is happening and how we can cope with that. But what I feel that is really happening is we're expanding and into who we really are. And that means shedding the layers of the false self, the ego, that has been built up over years by our society, by the broken systems which are falling away right now, um, and by intervention from um, forces that have been trying to control planet Earth and humans on Earth for thousands of years. And so this is this amazing time, the Age of Awakening, beginning in 2012, where we are stepping into who we really are, into this new spiritual age, the Age of Aquarius. So this is like the dark night of the soul, the shadows. We all are at home. And what do we have to do? But, well, we could try to distract ourselves with, you know, alcohol, TV, movies, internet. And while sometimes the internet, of course, is nice to connect us with other people, we need to, I suggest, at least be aware of when we're avoiding something. We're avoiding the feelings that are coming up, because there are a lot of feelings coming up. And just last night, I led this meditation on grief and noticing the grief feelings, that denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and then ultimately acceptance. And we go through all these different cycles. We're flowing in and out of each of those emotions. And what I've found for myself, including myself, is I sometimes go through all of those in just one day, and it can be like this roller coaster of emotion. So just noticing the emotions, being aware that they're there, not trying to push them away, but going into them deeper. What is this about? What is this trying to tell me? And as a lot of you know, I do this work with the ego self. And what are the fears? What are the doubts? What are the worries? Are they really true? How can I really pick them apart? Because a lot of us are being triggered right now. So ultimately, we're being asked to, in the process of expanding into our true spiritual selves, we must shed these ego layers so we can go out into our light bodies and into activating our God self, which is really about going into our outer, astral bodies, our light bodies, which is pushing out beyond the dense physical bodies that are closest to our physical bodies, and moving out into really the fifth dimension, the fifth dimensional consciousness, which is a consciousness of unity, of love, of unconditional acceptance and peace for all beings and all elements of the earth. And we're evolving into that now. It's this really amazing time to be alive. However, it will take a little bit of work for us to do that. And I'll be sharing some meditations about how to activate our light and go into that outer light body. And it really is also working with the upper and lower chakras, which most in traditional energy medicine, a lot of times it's only 7 that we're taught that are in the body, but really we have more than 7. We have, a few up here, a few down here, some say there's 12. And so we have this opportunity to push out into those what would it feel like to go a few feet above my head and to act and to connect with the star, the soul star, which is up, even beyond where I can reach my higher self, or that Christ consciousness, the Christ self, the God self. What would it feel like to go below my feet and down into the earth and connecting with this shamanistic other lower realm that is deeply rooted in grounding, healing energy. So within this time, it's like these two balances of things that I feel like we're being asked to do. Is one, to do that, to meditate on light, and that's just simply bringing light in our bodies, and asking for our divine guides. Who is it there that's rooted in love and only love? Pleiadians are there, Jesus is there, Mother Mary is there, our spirit guides are there, the angels are there, any other deities or ascended masters, Yogananda, Kuan Yin, maybe there's Buddha, maybe there's Shakti, the Shakti, or the energy of the divine feminine, who I've been connecting with more and more recently. Maybe there's other energies that are here for us, and it depends on our vibration and what we happen to connect with. So you can ask for them to come in to these different, based in love and only love, just using that intention, because that's what we allow in. And then what do I need to clear? Just working with that light and asking that, like, where is it? Where do I have a layer? Where's the block that came from what my parents maybe said, or to me when I was little, or something that happened to me when I was younger? Because the layers start at that young age. Or what else has happened, these layers of conditioning that I can begin to separate from and heal from. So it's really this balance of doing the ego work and working with light. And when we shed those layers of ego, we start to say, that's not actually true. That belief that I'm not good enough, or I'm not lovable, or I can't, or people will think this, or I'm not something. And that's not true, because I know that I am always learning and growing every day, that it's normal to make mistakes, that I'm learning to unconditionally love and accept myself as I am. And these new mantras start to reprogram our thinking. And the more our thoughts change, the more our emotions change, and then the more our reality changes, because we co-create our reality with our minds. So hopefully that's helpful in some way for you. And there's a lot of different ways you can do this. I, of course, do this work, and I'm doing a class called How to Thrive as a Spiritual Being that is online, and I'll be helping you move through all of these layers. This is not the only reason why I'm here, but I'm telling you about this because it's a wonderful opportunity to really go into that place, to step up and say, okay, I know these energies are calling me to do this inner work, because it starts from within, and ultimately, and say yes to that. I'm accepting the call. And ultimately, that's how we're going to move through this time, is when those of us who are being called upon to share light for the healing of the planet, by goodness, by gosh, we are needed so badly right now. But it's this process of working through our own stuff, and then sharing light out with those in need, and using our intuition to guide us how best we can do that. But we won't be able to do it if we're not separating from those negative thoughts that are trying to keep us in our safe place. That's what the protective ego does. They're telling us, you're not ready, you can't, you don't know this, you don't have the expertise this person does. Not all that's thrown out the window. It's all just junk. we need every single one of us that we can get. It's like a movie where they get all the people in the village to come into battle. I don't want to use the battle analogy, but there's a little bit of that. But it's like it's a good battle. it's a of evolution, and it's a push into expanded consciousness. So if you're curious about the class, please reach out to me. There's still a few spots left in the daytime one, three spots left, and there's I think 4 in the evening one on these 2 different days. And so we'll be going through this every other week over 3 months, 6 sessions total, working through the ego layers, connecting with your divine self and your divine guidance, learning how to trust your intuition and taking action. Because when we move past the ego, then we can take an action step and explore and experiment and try something out, and in a place we normally feel scared to. And we'll do some hypnotherapy to help clear out some of the ego stuff, some really targeted writing tools that I use with clients and that really work, that are kind of based in neurolinguistic programming. And then, of course, creating a vision of how you want to be, how do you want to feel in your life, and that's the blueprint moving forward. And that's a future self vision tool. These are things I do with individual clients. It's like clockwork. There's a series of things that we do in 6 sessions, and it really seems to help people expand and make a shift in their lives. So hopefully that class will be of interest to a few of you, and I highly recommend it. And if not, at least take a moment to meditate, to go into those ego layers, to work with light, not just a moment, many moments every day, as much as we can, at least a few times a day. And I think with that, it's going to, I have so much hope. There's a lot, the energy on the new timeline of ascension of 5th dimensional consciousness is very strong. And that's the timeline we're on. as long as we can, enough of us can do this, we will shift. We're going to continue on that shift towards just the new earth. Thanks for being here. Bye.